Canada is making Donald Trump squirm just 24 hours after Donald Trump was at the World Cup finals with Prime Minister Carney and really refused to say anything to Carney's face. The very next day, Donald Trump, through his trade representative, Jamieson Greer, announced 50% tariffs on a wide range of Canadian imports. But then we got to read the fine print about what the exclusions are and what's actually included. And then we got to go look at how Donald Trump is even invoking these tariffs. You may be saying, what do you mean, Ben? Didn't the tariffs get struck down by the United States Supreme Court? They did, and then they did again. And so now Donald Trump is using something that no one's really even ever heard of called Section 338 of the 1930 Tariff Act. And Trump's claiming that he in the U.S. are being discriminated against by Canada and U.S. commerce because of the Canadian elbows up boycott, which is being done organically by the Canadian people on hospitality and American booze and liquor. So the Trump regime put out a statement through Jamieson Greer. Today, Ambassador Greer issued a statement after Trump exercised his authority under Section 338 of the Tariff Act of 1930 to impose additional 50% tariffs on certain Canadian goods to offset Canada's discriminatory treatment of U.S. exports. And then you read what the justification is, and it goes on to say, here's the discrimination that's taking place. Canada has taken U.S. alcohol products off Canadian shelves, given better access to dairy products from the European Union, and has put a cap on U.S. vehicle exports to Canada from companies reshoring to the United States. And then it goes on to describe Canada's retaliatory actions as being discriminatory. They retaliated against us. How dare they take any retaliatory action against us at all? And let's just show you what Donald Trump said when he was leaving the FIFA World Cup, when he was trying to make it all about himself, and like the team from Spain's like, get this guy off, get this guy off. Here's what Trump said he told Canadian Prime Minister Carney at the event. Let's at FIFA World Cup finals. Let's play it.
How did that go?
Well, it went good, but I told him, I mean, you got to stop these fires from coming in and, poisoning our air. Our air has been poisoned. I have a good relationship with Mark Carney, but, we got to stop the fires up there. If we can help them, we'll help them. But maybe they should pay us some damages or something, or we should do some tariffs. But it was terrible. I mean, you had businesses closing. In particular, Michigan. If you look at Detroit, Michigan area, they had to close everything. They had to close car plants and a lot of other things. So I've never remembered this happening. Over the last 4 or 5 years, you saw it starting to take place. I've never remembered it happening before.
I want to bring in Charlie Angus, heads up Midas Canada. Charlie, big headline, 50%. You then read some of the fine print, hockey sticks. He's coming after your hockey sticks, they say. That's a big priority. What do you make of it, Charlie?
Well, maybe it's because the crowds didn't boo Mark Carney when anti-fascist Spain won the World Cup and they booed Donald Trump. I don't know. Maybe it's a reflecting pool. He's now imposed a tariff on Canadian swimming pools. I think it would be a lot better, Ben, for Donald Trump, just to be honest, and impose a massive fee on Canada and declare that it's the rent that he's charging for the amount of time we spend living inside his head. Because he's obviously obsessed with us. He hates us, but he's also gutless. So this tariff thing tonight, I think everybody in Canada is saying, what? He's coming after us for hockey sticks? Is that the big threat? And the fact that he's imposing this 1930 tariff, anybody who knows a little bit of history knows that 1930 Tariff Act plunged the United States into the world into the worst economic catastrophe ever. They had to pull that one out of the crypt to come after us. But Ben, what we're really seeing here is it's a lot of symbolism. He's going after dairy when We don't really export hardly any dairy to the United States at all. So, boy, our dairy farmers are going to wake up tomorrow and say, okay, wine. Because of the constant insults and threats to Canada, we are not buying the product, and we have obviously caused massive damage to the booze industry. But our wine industry is taken off because of that. So I don't even think we'd have the wine to sell into the United States if we wanted to, but we are actually selling for the first time into Europe. And we know, no offense to our European friends, they tend to be a little more snooty with their wines, but they're buying Canadian wines now because we're a democratic country and democratic people like democratic wines. So I don't know what's going on in the White House right now, but yeah, Donald, we'll keep our hockey sticks. How about that? But we'll meet you on the ice any day. Just come on out and we'll see what happens.
There's also this kind of say it to my face aspect of all of this. I mean, Trump's there with Carney. Trump, when he's right there, right next to somebody, whether it's Carney, whether it's the Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, or whoever, Trump talks crap once he leaves, but once he's right there, he never says it to the face. Same thing, Georgia Maloney, he's posting that she basically stalks him and he needs a restraining order. I mean, just think about the president of the United States posting that about a world leader. By the way, a far right-wing leader who you would think that he would get along with, but he's saying because she's a female leader of the country, that he wants a restraining order against her. I'll just show you what Donald Trump said on the tarmac as well when he was asked about, so what happened with Spain? You've been spending all of NATO and all these international meetings attacking Spain, the Spanish people, the country, over and over and over again. So what happened when you were there? Did you say something? Did you not want to shake their hands? Because you sure are talking a lot of crap. Here, let's play this clip.
I did. I spoke to Spain, and I congratulated them on having a great team. I really spoke to a lot of people.
Not tension with Spain.
No, I have no tension. I have no tension with anybody.
Bringing it home there, Charlie, it's like, okay, you talk smack. Then player throws down the gloves, squares up, and I just want to be friends with you. What are you talking about? What do you make of it, Charlie?
Well, Ben, it's like you don't just come out with a whole list of tariffs that you think you can get away with on the fly. So this was thought out. So Donald Trump is threatening us over the climate fires and then is saying, well, I never seen any kind of smoke and burning planet before. What's going on here? I mean, the fact that he's targeted every country who are bringing in clean energy regs to try and stop the planet burning. But besides that, he was threatening us all this week about the smoke. He meets Prime Minister Carney at the World Cup, at the finals. And then the next day, he throws down this bizarre list of things: cement, hockey sticks, swimming pools, wine. This is something that his gang in the White House cooked up, figured out, costed out, and then decided to drop the day after the World Cup. After he just met Prime Minister Carney, why didn't he sit down and say, listen, this is what I'm coming at you with? But I think if he did, Prime Minister Carney might have actually broken that really good poker face he's got and just laughed, because this is ridiculous. Again, dairy. The U.S. exports $800 some million of dairy into Canada. We put only about 300 million back. We can easily absorb that dairy in Canada, and we don't need to worry about the tariffs. So, it's gutless. This guy, he's a thug. He's gutless on this. He couldn't look Prime Minister Carney in the face and say, I'm coming after your hockey sticks, because he probably knew that Prime Minister Carney would laugh at him. So he's got to go to Truth Social and try and rally the base. Don't worry, I'm going after those Canadian hockey sticks. They're going to pay. It's just, I think it's the debasement of the office that we've got to move away from this carnival nature and grotesque actions all the time, and think of how much he's debased the United States and debased the sense of the role of the president on the world stage. Right now we've got the Strait of Hormuz still closed. We see the people in Cuba suffering terribly. We see his failure on Ukraine. We see his failure in so many areas, and yet his biggest fight right now is Canadian hockey sticks. This man is a freaking disgrace.
Right. When you think about it, though, there's a through line throughout that. Hockey sticks, but using the 50%, tariff, saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open when it's closed, painting the reflecting pool blue,
Yeah.
and then saying that it's vandals who, whatever, saying that that Putin just wants to do a deal. He called me up. He says it's really close to happening. It's right around, it's right around the corner. I think whether you're Carney, whether you're Putin, whether you're any country and any leader in anywhere, no matter who you are, whether you're Iran, you can create a psychological, pathological, profile of him, which obviously includes a lot of being deranged and an absolute lunatic, but it also includes this through line of this scam, this grift, this alternate reality. And that's part of the debasement and the humiliation ritual that we go through here as well. Trump should never be doing any of these things at all. There should never be tariffs. We shouldn't have gone in this catastrophic war. Then he layers on top of the horrible things, this farcical world that we look at. Well, what are you doing? What are you even saying that I don't even know. What are you this is your plan that every night now CENTCOM's going to announce like it's the beginning of The Apprentice. 10th night, we're going for strikes. All right, strikes are over, everybody. Like that's the plan. Well, then Iran responds by striking our bases hard while we run out of munition. Like what? It's horrible. Then it's just like, what are you doing? What is this?
Well, Ben, I think the issue, and this is where the rest of the world is wondering, we've got to look beyond the fact that this is Donald Trump. We have senators talking about seizing Canadian assets and expelling. I was just listening to our national news program today. A senator, I think from Ohio, is demanding they expel the entire Canadian embassy from the United States, all our diplomatic staff. So you have this absolute crazy talk. It's no longer just coming from Trump, but it's starting to spread out among a whole class of Republican politicians that's making the rest of the world think that the rot is much greater now, because where is Congress? Where is the Senate? Where are the governors to start speaking up and saying, what the heck are you doing? What are you doing with, again, the Strait of Hormuz? The world is more and more destabilized. We got through the first 6 months of the year. We're not going to get through the second 6 months with the pressures on oil and the pressures on fertilizer that's going to be needed by so many countries. And yet we watch the buffoon show of an idiot who only went to the World Cup because he wanted to be cheered, and people were laughing at him. I mean, they were mimicking him. What they're doing now is they're basically mimicking the United States. And then so you get the rage factor back at us that as we have to find other alternatives, this middle powers approach, we're now being scolded and threatened that how dare we start thinking of an alternative? Well, we have no ally to negotiate with anymore. We have no one's word that we can trust. In the past, Canada always knew if the U.S. wanted to put the squeeze on, they'd put the squeeze on, but we would negotiate. And then we knew what the word was at the end of the day. We don't know what we're getting anymore. That's why we're dealing with Europe. That's why we're dealing with Australia, other countries, the Asian countries. And that's why literally you can see from global polling that more and more countries are thinking, well, China doesn't seem so bad all of a sudden. China seems like they're just being a little reasonable. They're being moderate. Well, they're not moderate. We know that. But they recognize they can play the long game because we're watching an empire disintegrate in front of our face. And we've got Mr. Caligula in the White House acting like the buffoon and the threat and the menace. And what are they going to get from us? Our hockey sticks? Well, come and get them, Donald.
Before we go, Charlie, your message right now to Donald Trump if he's watching this.
Well, Donald, you're running out of road. You're looking more and more like the jackass that you are. You've always been a malevolent predator. You've always thought that you could bully people, you could threaten people, you could intimidate people. Let's talk about Jane Doe. Let's talk about what's in the Epstein files. Let's talk about the people who are intimidated into not speaking. All that stuff's coming out, Donald. It's coming out on you. And whenever you see anyone trying to stand up for the rule of law or anyone standing up for themselves, It enrages you. That's why you hate Canada. You have said we are the nastiest country in the world. You wouldn't dare say that to Vladimir Putin because you're his bootlicker. But you think Canada can be pushed around because we're nice, we're reasonable? Well, we're nice and we're not, Donald. We're polite. But that doesn't mean that you're going to push us around. So you hate us. You say we're nasty. You shut down the bridge that we paid for. You accuse us of ripping you off. You target us arbitrarily. And then when we stand up, you are outraged and hurt, as are all your whole MAGA machine. You guys, you're snowflakes. You're bullies and you're snowflakes. And so whatever, you're coming after the hockey sticks. Yeah, right. Sure. You're going to come after Canadian swimming pools. Sure. You're going to come after Canadian wine. Whatever, Donald. But you don't get it. It just makes us stronger. Every day we get stronger and we get more determined. And we're going to watch you, Donald, at the end, when you go down and your whole criminal regime goes down and your criminal family goes down in Canada. We'll be popping the wine, good Canadian wine, and we'll be raising a toast.
Charlie Angus runs the Meidas Canada YouTube channel, which is growing at a massive, massive pace. Make sure you all subscribe. Help it now get to 300,000, 400,000 subscribers. Let's get it there by the end of this year. Just subscribe to Meidas Canada. Search Meidas Canada, Charlie Angus. Thanks, Charlie.
Hey, thanks so much.
Everybody hit subscribe here as well. Oh, yeah, and check out the new book, WTF America. Pre-order it now. Breaking news right now, my brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.